Hey everybody, this is Captain Frugal reporting for duty, giving you my weekly comic book review. So sit back and enjoy.
Captain Frugal, telling the truth. Strumming chords, uncovering groove. Comic panels, game reviews. Rocking riffs and six-string blues. What's the verdict is it rad? Did it crash? Is it bad?
Alright everybody, for those of you that know the drill, I go over a bunch of comic books for the week that I chose to read. Now I didn't have time to read everything, so if I missed something you think I should have read, let me know in the comments below. Also, you may disagree with me on some of my choices. If that's the case, that's alright. Let me know below. Let's just try to keep it civil. My goal is to bring back the old schoolyard days, where we would be in discussing what hero could beat who or what comic book was good and not. And I come armed with my trusty notes, so you'll hear the paper rattle because I do it a little bit old school. I do my grading on a scale of 0 through 10, 7 being average as a 70%. So I'm using schoolyard grading. But that's not all. I also use the League of Comics Geeks to give you other people's views as well as a brief overview of the comic book as well. So let's jump right in. Hey guys, this is Captain Frugal reporting for duty with my weekly comic book review. Now if you hear some noise, you might be hearing the air conditioner because it's hot and I can only keep it off so long and then it gets smoking and it's bad for the computer, right? So if you hear that background noise, I'm sorry there. So let's jump into our virtual comic shop, shall we? And share our thoughts. And speaking of sharing thoughts, don't hesitate to share yours as well in the chat. We do love it. You can really help this channel by doing something as simple as sharing your thoughts or even hitting like. And if you like it, subscribe. Alright, we're going to start with The Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 9. With 385 ratings, 3.5 score, mostly positive. And you know what? I was pretty positive on this one, though. I gave it a 7.8, not as high as they did. A couple things I want to mention. Right off the bat, 385 ratings. That's bad for Spider-Man. All the damage that's been done over the last year or so with Spider-Man, and even currently, has really drove down the sales of this book. This book before was normally getting 800, 900 plus reviews. 385? Oof. Now I will say the cover right off the bat's pretty intriguing. Spider-Man has been beaten down, but this cover, and it's an okay cover. But there is some open order covers that are better than that, especially the ones with MJ. But, anybody like me would probably agree that Marvel just doesn't know what to do with MJ. All right. Well, anyway, the writer is Joe Kelly and artist is Michael Dowling. And Spider-Man has a shocking defeat. Last issue, he got beat down, battered and broken following his battle with Hellgate. This issue is the aftermath with that. Spider-Man needs to level up if he's going to survive another round. It seems like actually he's almost afraid to put on the spider suit again. Peter Parker seems to be a different man since then. He's alienated himself from everybody. And I mean all. And then actually one panel is pretty cool because Mary Jane Watson reveals that she's this new Venom. And Peter's just like, but you're going to want to get back together with me or something. Whatever, you two deserve each other, and walks out. I mean, about time Peter puts on the big boy pants and grows some balls. I mean, everything that's been done to him with that. I mean, she knows what he is and things, and it's just dumb, how he takes it. And, the writing with them as a couple has been so messed up. Another interesting thing here is we get an upgraded Shocker, which is pretty cool because Shocker for a long time has been sort of just a punching bag. So, and this is nice to have him as a step up and his own team, the Aftershocks. So what we're doing is we're seeing the aftermath of Peter Parker not being Spider-Man. Because what happens is after this, he hasn't been. He's been injured, and as I said, I think he's sort of scared to jump back in. And so the criminal element is realizing that he's gone, and they're taking advantage of it. So this was a pretty good issue, actually. As I said, 7.8. 7 is average for me. So I give it, this is one of the best Spider-Man issues we've had in a long time, which sad to say, to be honest. And Peter, as I said, he's been avoiding being Spider-Man, so we got a nice dynamic there. And we get to see, what happens when Spider-Man's away. I enjoyed this one. Pretty good art, good story. But, let's see what some other people say. Here we have a 4-star review. I'm going to read a couple lines of that. Can't lie, this is another banger issue, so let's talk about it. First off, I want to compliment the art of Michael Downing. It's very good, almost reminding me of late 2000s, early 2010s. Okay. So, and then they go on about the story and how they like it too. Here's another one, 4.5 stars. The way we are teething this up, I thought you wanted to get back together. Or the way you're teeing this up, I thought you wanted to get back together. I already know this is going to have a negative rating. Despite being some of the best mainline ASM in years, Peter is actually a character in this issue. He's flawed and emotional after his battle with Hellgate, and shockingly, there's actually aftermath from the fight. And I agree there. That's one of the things that drew me to that. But let's look at something that runs really different. This is a 1-star review. So yeah, new arc. Let's get it out of the way. It is so telegraphed that Earth Spidey is Ben, not the real Peter. That I'm shocked that anyone legit believes this is Peter. Chasm's last appearance was him claiming he wants to take over Peter's life. He wears the Ben Reilly external web shooters. This issue saying how Peter's actions are totally OOC and calling Mysterio's woman in his phone honey and saying he has a girlfriend, which means it's probably Janine. Okay, so what this person is thinks this is Ben Reilly. And there's a question for you. I want to know, what are your thoughts? Do you think this is really Ben Reilly, or you just think this is just a wild take on things? I'm really curious to see what your thoughts are. This seems to be a growing thing on the interwebs and social media. People go, this is not Peter Parker. I don't know. The writing has been so all over the place for ASM. Who knows? Now let's shift gears to JSA number 10. 154 ratings with 3.8 score. Mostly positive. Writer Jeff Lemire. Artist Raphael de la Tour. I gave the book an 8. Yeah. What secrets lie within the Black Hawk Island? Can the JSA uncover them before the Injustice Society burn the island and its mysteries with it? It seems likely that Ruby in this story, which turned traitor on the JSA, will regret what she's done. I mean, we see why she did it and the reasons why for taking care of what she has to do. But this is sort of, something we've seen 1,000 times. Hero does something because of good intentions, realizes what they did was a mistake, and has to turn back. Decent art, decent action, good story progression, but this is going to be a cliche story. It just seems that way to me, but let's check what somebody else has to say. Here's a 4-star review. Lemire's tone and penchant for character drama is what makes this worth turning into every month. For a team like the JSA, that's a rife with familiar bickering. Okay, that's a rife with familiar bickering, and the tension comes with living up to the legends that have come before it. That's some good parts there, too. I was looking at another one. Here's another 4-star. The breakdown story, the society, 4-star. The society finally starts to come together, but is it too late? Lemire ramps up the tension as we approach the climax of the story. It's taken perhaps a little too long, but things are humming along now. Art, while I missed Orlo Geggio's art, I can't pronounce that. Del Toro did a solid replacement, nailing the action sequences. Okay. And I'm looking through and I really just see 4s, 4.5. Oh, here we go. Finally, a 0.5 star review. Boy, this person does not agree with many of the people. This run is just so bad. And it's ridiculous that this is a 12-issue arc that took 10 issues for anything to happen. And even then, it wasn't anything interesting. Ooh, wow. Not to mention this run's just so full of character assassination. It's like Lemire either doesn't know anything about these characters or just doesn't care and is just doing whatever. And then it goes on. Here's another 3-star. This book remains extremely bland. I expect so much more from Lemire than this. I'm out after 12. That's for sure. Well, there you go. Mostly positive here. A lot of good ones, but boy, a couple that really were not digging it. They'd rather this book go flying into the trash bin. And speaking of flying in, let's talk about The Birds of Prey number 24. 130 ratings, 3.8 score, mostly positive, I gave the book a 7.4. Writer Kelly Thompson, penciler Sammy Basur. First of all, the cover is very bland. I'm sorry, I don't see how this cover would sell any books. But I will say, one of the open order covers with Black Canary could sell some books. Check those out. That's probably the one that if I seen I pull off the shelf. The current one, standard, just not really anything to write home about. The Shadow Armies had the upper hand from the jump, but the jump is long past and the birds are ready to get their people back and throw down like it's personal, cause it is personal, as they fight to free Barda. And they do. The cover, as I said, is absolute garbage. The art, though, in interiors is mediocre. Lots of good action in this book. Harley Quinn pulls an Amber Heard as well. Because, well, to trash their place, the enemies, she decides pooping on the beds is the right thing to do. So she pulled a Herd. So the birds have won the battle, but the war continues. They're still going to have to deal with the Shadow Army. They've stopped them for now, but what's coming on up next, who knows? With that said, it got some pretty good reviews. I said mostly positive. I see a lot of 4 stars. Okay, here we go. Let's look at one that is a 2.5 star. This was very boring and anticlimactic and uninspired. The fight was quite lame. We aren't really any closer to figuring out what the bad guys had planned, really. I think, why not wrap up the storyline, cut your losses, and move on to something else? The villains were not good enough to be a recurring threat, and the way they escaped, lame. Don't understand at all why people are glazing this run. It's subpar on every level. Woo! That person was not a fan. Let's find somebody that's a little bit counter to that. Let's read a little bit of this 4-star review. Satisfying end to the arc. The book is just so darn enjoyable to me. Oh my goodness. I will say the extended family, while sweet and very nice, especially while hearing Canary's family speech, felt a tad unnecessary and shoehorned in. But I'm just glad that we're there to serve a purpose for the story and then leave, not come back permanently. But let's look at another negative one here. Well, sort of negative. This is 3 stars. Trying to find right in the middle between that negative and the positive one. I had fun and enjoyed this issue, but it felt kind of flat to me. Birds of Prey has been a really good comic, and Kelly Thompson's an amazing writer, but this comic is needing more gravitas for the past few issues. The conclusion of this arc, which also concludes the 2nd year of this comic, didn't really feel like any sort of conclusion. And that's because it's not. It was just the ending of a battle. They still haven't really done anything. So there we went over it. I gave a high-level comment, a middle, and a one that hated the book. So as you see, there's a bit of a mixed bag. Speaking of mixed bag, this one might surprise you. Captain America #2, 697 ratings, 4.3 score, very positive. So initially the book is selling well. And the writers, we have Chip Zdarsky, which I find very hit and miss. Sometimes I can't stand his work, and sometimes I really like it. Artist is very Oshiki, which butchered it. Now I will say the standard cover I'm not a big fan of. It's okay. I don't like the new Steve Rogers Captain America suit, but there is some much better open order covers. I mean, a couple of them I thought in particular are very, very much better. But, you know, that's me. Witness the rise of one of Marvel's most infamous villains as Captain America comes face to face with Doom for the first time. Yes, this is an interesting type of throwback. This is Laviteria like you've never seen it before. What we have here is a throwback changing of the history continuity story. I see it sort of like just a off-worlds, different universe book, mainly here. First of all, I'm going to be honest. I think diversity in comics, your boy Zack, whatever he calls himself, because he's been flip-flopping all over the place on everything, and yet attacking YouTubers for some reason for having different views than him. Your boy, what's going on with you? You got problems. Anyway, I disagree with you. The new Captain America suit sucks. Deal with it. All right. This book had mediocre art, and I'm just not a fan of this story. As I said, I'm trying to take it as it's an Elseworlds kind of thing, not the mainstream. I just don't like the spin of it. It seems like Zdarsky wants to paint the military a certain way, but doesn't really understand the military fully.
not trying to be disingenuous. I think he's trying to do a good job there. Really, I don't know. I just not a big fan. We have a different version of Captain America here too. Captain America kind of team. And there's some interesting concepts here. There is some pieces here that I can say, okay, there's stuff here to work with. The problem is I just don't know how it's going to stand up. But, let's check out some other people that think differently. This person gave the book a 5-star review. Another great issue has been very strong start for Zdarsky's run. We learn more about Colton's time as Captain America. It's really interesting. I love how Zdarsky shows that they were both inspired to join the army and to serve because that one evil man despite that they both have different mindsets due to different experiences. Yes, in this type of world, this timeline, Cap doesn't join the Avengers. Instead, he hops back with the military. We haven't seen anything Colton has been through yet, but I can imagine something horrific happened that broke him to make him be an authoritarian Captain America. I really enjoyed this version of Steve, learning about the world and how much it's changed. And that is, we still got that difference in time, but the time is not as long. Cap was frozen for a longer period of time in the 616. This period is not as much, but he still is very much a man out of time. The art was great too, and I really liked it, all the different art style for the flashbacks. I think that was a nice touch, using different art styles for the flashbacks as well. Everything with Doom and Lavatoria was cool too. Overall, this was a great issue. Zdarsky is cooking with this run, and I think it's the best is yet to come. I hope he's right, because I want Captain America to do well, though I want a standardized Captain America comic book. So this is, as I said, I can't picture this as a main line, but that's my views on the book, and other people's are different. Let's see. I'm going to scroll through here and see if I can find something. There's a lot of really good reviews here for this book. I'm trying to find a negative. That's a good sign for Captain America if I'm struggling to find one that's really highly negative here. I'm seeing lots of 4-star reviews, so I'm one of the harsh reviews here, because you ready for this? I gave the book a 6.8. And it's not fair to the book, because the reason I gave it such low scores, I want traditional Captain America, not alternate reality timeline Captain America. We need a Steve Rogers book. So I am in the minority here, and that's why I think I'm judging it unfairly. So based on that, I give it a 6.8. If I based it on, I don't want another Steve Rogers in continuity book, I'd probably honestly would have given this book maybe a 7.4. Anyway, I found a 1.5-star review. Line art really dropped off here compared to the excellent first issue. No clue what happened. Pressed for time, I guess? Okay, so he judged it, or she judged it purely on the art. So as you see here, more people are really enjoying this than disliking it. And I'd like to know, your views, because mine is, I'm a very old school Captain America fan, and I want my Steve Rogers in this timeline, but you can't have everything you want. The next one I want to talk about is Silverhawks number 6. The bad thing is, here on League of Comic Geeks, there was no reviews, so I've got nothing to go on there for any reviews at all, which doesn't say much for the sales of this book. The writer is Ed Brisson, artist is Georgia Cambedas, which I probably butchered, by the way. I enjoy this whole concept of this story. They introduced these hawks for surveillance, which is great. Also, there's good work here showing what the characters are going through with their transitions from being regular people to having all these changes to their bodies and things. So I think that's nice. The book where it really struggles, though, is in the art, where I think the art is better in this issue than it's been. Still, it's not doing the Silverhawks justice. Silverhawks the way these characters look could be amazingly beautiful looking and cool looking, but you just don't get that. It's very amateurish or in a rush. Sadly, with this book going from very little reviews to not getting any reviews at all at issue 6, I would be surprised if this book is around, makes it past 10 issues. It's probably not even going to make it there. So anyway, we're rebuilding the criminal empire here. Monstar needs a big score because he keeps needing to get his money to continue the build. The Silverhawks are after him, but they seem to always be one step behind. But they do run into somebody that's going to give them help tracking. I really wish this book would get some better art and get a better chance. So, as I said, I can't really share any views on that. If you've read this book, let me know your thoughts. I'd really like to hear somebody else's view. The next one I want to talk about is Red Hulk. Yeah, Red Hulk number 7, 84 ratings, 3.8 scores. So not a whole lot of people reading this one possibly either. Writer Benjamin Percy, artist is Jethro Morales. And I'm enjoying this book. I gave the book a 7.8. If I didn't give the Silverhawks score, by the way, I gave the Silverhawks issue an 8. I think that's one of the higher scores I gave that. I don't think I did. I gave that book an 8. Anyway, this book, 7.8. Machine Man and Deathlock evade the police as they hunt for Thunderbolt Ross. Yes, they're trying to save him. And can the Red Hulk get himself out? Well, this book has mediocre art. I like the Deathlock Machine Man relationship here. I think they make a good kind of buddy cop kind of duo here. I'm enjoying them. There's decent story progression in this issue. Overall, it's just a fun issue. And I look through, and really that's all I'm getting in the reviews is a lot of 3 and 4 stars. It's just, yeah, it's a pretty good issue. So if you want a Red Hulk fix, you might want to check this one out. I think you'd enjoy it. Next one I want to talk about is Moon Knight Fist of Khonshu number 11, 252 ratings with a 4.4, very positive score for League of Comics Geeks. And I gave this book, actually I didn't rate it yet. I have it out here in my notes that I was still thinking about it. I'm going to give it, though, a 7.5. And there's a couple reasons for that. I'll get to it in just a moment. Writer's Jed McKay, artist is Dimencio Capone. Okay, so first of all, this is a filler issue. So I docked it a little bit there, but it's a filler issue that's not. And I know it makes me contradictory. We got Mark's birthday. Yay! And so we get to see some more about the characters and how they care about him and how they relate to him and more about them as well. So this does seem like a filler issue, but it's actually good. It's nice. We get to see characters like 8-Ball and how he's growing as a person and the influence of Moon Knight and it's having on him. There's good characterization in this issue with things like Tigra and how she cares about him, even though he's a flawed person, which we all are. Though I do think the art could be a little bit better. But overall, this is a fun issue. So I'm going to try to find somebody that gave it a lower score, because when I'm looking at it, I'm seeing a lot of high 5s and 4.5s here. And while I'm scrolling through, still looking, 4.5, 5. Yep, pretty much seems like everybody pretty much not the same. It's a birthday issue. I like the cape on 8-Ball. Yeah, 8-Ball tries a cape. People are enjoying it. They thought, even though it was sort of a one-shot kind of deal, it's good. It was good, so well done. Next book I want to talk about, and the last book, I'm going to run it a little bit long. Here's G.I. Joe, The Real American Hero, issue 319. This is a book that I think is slipping in sales as well. It has 25 ratings with a 4.3, very positive score. So it's getting good scores, but it's just not selling. I gave the book an 8. Cover artist is Andy Kubert. Writer is Larry Hama. Penciler is Paul Pelletier. And that's the thing, the cover doesn't do it for me at all. It looks a little hokey. Kubert, I don't know what happened there. What does Dr. Mindbender have planned for Serpentor? I think we all know. It's the common thing is he's trying to bring back Serpentor, but we now have an upgraded Dr. Mindbender, which is pretty cool, though it does seem like his targeting systems were created and modeled after, what are they called? Stormtroopers. There we go, because he still can't hit crap. Anyway, we have the G.I. Joes failed to stay undercover. And I mean all of them. Every single group, wherever they're posted at. Whether it be Springfield, in the casino, or whatever. They all failed to stay undercover. So this issue is complete FUBAR. So if you like an issue where everything is all screwed up, this is it. FUBAR for the Joes. I mean, it is lots of action. They cannot stay undercover for nothing. There's good art. It's really a good action-packed, fun issue, though. I enjoyed it. And as I said, there isn't really much for people leaving reviews for this one because it's so little. But here's a 5-star. What a great issue, man. Yeah, good. Pretty good. So not much being said, but if you like Helix, Cobra Commander, Mindbender, Jinx, Molto, Muskrat, Scarlet, Snake Eye, Storm Shadow, Wetsuit, Black Hat, Duke, Mainframe, Snake Eyes, and others, this might just be the issue for you to check out. It does have, by the way, that standard cover is pretty lame, but I will say some retailer exclusive covers, awesome. The Scarlet is on some of them that are really good too. And another evil character that tends to be a fan favorite, the Baroness. And there's a cool one with Roadblock as well, but that's not quite as good as the retailer exclusives. But there are my thoughts, not yours. Let me know. Get into the virtual comic shop here and share your thoughts. I hope to hear from you all. And you know what? Let's try to bless some people, okay? Treat others well. Until next time, keep it frugal.